Conservatism. As the name suggests, conservatism tries to conserve traditional values in Western culture. Conservatives usually promote the nuclear family, organized religion, the military, and property rights. Liberalism. Usually cited as the dominant ideology in modern history, liberalism emphasizes individual rights, popular consent for government, and equal treatment under the law. It also supports free markets, elections, separation of powers, freedom of religion, privacy, and free speech. Moderatism. Moderates seek to stay within the Overton window, the range of policies acceptable to the mainstream. They may be less politically passionate, but possess some political knowledge. Capitalism. An economic system based on private ownership of the means of production for profit. Key characteristics include private property, free exchange, competition, division of labor, and social cooperation. Socialism. An umbrella term for various systems with social ownership of the means of production for collective benefit. Classical socialism emphasizes worker ownership and control, while modern socialism advocates worker self-management, high taxes on the wealthy, and nationalization of key industries. Social ownership is a core value. Syndicalism. This theory of labor organization advocates for worker ownership and control of production. It sees unionization, decentralized worker organizations, syndicates, and strikes as the best methods to achieve a socialist society. A post-capitalist society might have a congress of syndicates representing various sectors. Corporatism. This theory advocates organizing society into different employment areas, agriculture, military, etc., based on skills and interests. It proposes a cross-class system where workers, employers, and the state negotiate to efficiently run the economy and supposedly satisfy all parties. It's distinct from a corporatocracy, which is a system dominated by large business interests. Libertarianism. Upholding liberty as a core value, libertarianism seeks to maximize autonomy and political freedom. It favors a very limited government and shares liberal principles like equality before the law and basic rights. Separatism. Secessionism. This movement seeks to establish a new nation, country, or state separate from an existing one. Communism. Communism revolves around common ownership of production, distribution, and exchange, allocating products based on need. A communist society lacks private property, social classes, money, or a state. Feminism. Feminism aims to define and establish political, economic, personal, and social equality between the sexes. It argues that societies prioritize the male point of view and disadvantage women. Efforts include fighting gender stereotypes and improving opportunities for women. Anarchism. This ideology advocates for a society without rulers or formal authority, emphasizing freedom. It proposes replacing the state with stateless societies and voluntary associations. Environmentalism. Green politics. This term represents a range of ideologies that believe nature should be a significant factor in public policy, such as promoting recycling, reducing CO2 emissions, and stopping water pollution. Populism. Populism focuses on appealing to the masses and their beliefs, aiming to give them what they want. It can take many forms, but it's a movement by the people for the people, often associated with democracies due to its reliance on popular support. Populism often divides the people from the elite and can be anti-establishment and anti-politics. Republicanism. This ideology centers on a non-hereditary system of government in opposition to monarchism. It grants political power to the citizens in a state organized as a republic. Progressivism. Progressivism views societal progress as more important than preserving traditions, opposite of conservatism. It emphasizes reforms and changing the status quo. Imperialism. Imperialism is a policy or practice by a powerful nation of extending its dominion, especially by direct territorial conquest or by exerting political or economic control over other areas. Proponents often argue that it benefits colonized people by bringing them civilization, development, and their culture. Critics argue that it's exploitation, often leading to oppression, resource extraction, and cultural destruction. Egalitarianism. Egalitarianism is a school of thought that builds on the concept of social equality, prioritizing it for all people. As such, all citizens of a state should be accorded equal rights and treatment under the law. Transhumanism. Transhumanism believes that everyone should upgrade themselves with technology to overcome both the most basic and most complex of humanity's challenges. The ultimate objective is for all people to reach immortality and an incredibly advanced mind and body. Communitarianism. Communitarianism is an ideology that emphasizes the well-being and importance of the community as the primary social unit. It typically stresses the idea that the left-right binary of politics is holding politics back, and argues that policies from both sides of the spectrum are complementary and necessary to benefit the community. It believes that absolute individualism is harmful when it contradicts the common good. Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is a form of government characterized by a strong, usually central power that demands obedience to authority and limits political and civil freedoms. For example, most classic monarchies are a form of authoritarianism. The ruler of an authoritarian country imprisons and persecutes its opponents. Fascism. Fascism posits that people are weak when divided but strong when united under a banner, whether that banner represents a state, nation, army, or anything similar. It is authoritarian, meaning it's characterized by a controlling government that rejects the idea of people voting between multiple parties. Fascism involves a strong central power, which usually refers to a dictator, and thus rejects separation of powers. Fascism is also ultranationalist, which is the belief that a nation shouldn't care about other nations' rights as long as it benefits itself. Ultranationalism usually coexists with militarism, the idea that a nation should have a powerful enough military to expand national interests and values. Fascism suppresses opposition using forceful methods. It believes in a natural social hierarchy and promotes the refusal of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race. Nazism. Nazism is a form of fascism with a focus on its racist ideology, which claims the Aryan race is superior. It believes the Aryan race should rule the rest of the world to make it better, thus being ultranationalist. To be classified as an Aryan by the Nazis, you had to be white, straight, mentally and physically able, non-cowardly, and non-Jewish. If you were considered non-Aryan, you were called Untermensch, which means subhuman. Nazism also endorsed eugenics, a set of beliefs and practices that aim to improve the genetic quality of a human population. For that reason, people with inherited diseases were considered useless eaters and were killed or sent to camps on sight, as they were regarded as life unworthy of life. Nazism also hated homosexuals, considering them Untermensch as well.